a talented art student with a promising future, a twice convicted sex offender fresh from prison. At number 4 on our list, a tragedy that might have been prevented: the disappearance of Drew Shadeen. As a child, Drew Shadeen was always outgoing.
Well, Drew was, I think, everybody's friend. I always said that she could talk to a pulper. She'd light up a room anytime or any place she walked in.
In school, Drew developed an interest in the arts. By her senior year at the University of North Dakota, Drew looked forward to a career as a photographer. But first, she wanted to travel.
She was, at the time, planning on taking a trip to Australia in the spring for a photography class.
Drew held down 2 jobs to help pay for her trip. On the day she vanished, Drew got off work and did a little shopping. Security cameras showed Drew leaving the mall. She was on her cell with her boyfriend.
She was walking to her car from the mall entrance, talking to Chris on the cell phone, and suddenly he heard, "Okay, okay," and the phone went dead.
Chris, her boyfriend, called the apartment at 5:30 and said, "Hey, is Drew there? I was on the phone with her on her cell phone, and it just kind of ended weird, and I'm just kind of concerned about it."
Police records revealed a second call from Drew's cell phone to her boyfriend at 7:42 p.m.
When he answered the phone, all he could hear was beep, 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 like somebody pushing buttons.
At 9 o'clock, her manager from her second job called and said, "Is Drew there? She's late." And at that point, I called the police. I just said, I think my roommate is missing. I don't know who else to call.
Meg Flatagraph filed a missing persons report. The following morning, Drew's car was discovered in the mall parking lot.
It was unlocked. The purse that she had purchased was in there, and then her wallet and her identification was in there as well.
Police believe that Drew had been abducted.
Hair is frosted blonde, eyes are blue, height is 5'5", weight 140.
Cell phone records led police 27 miles outside Grand Forks to rural Minnesota, where Drew's phone had transmitted a signal to a tower.
We covered a lot of area. We worked from morning until dark, and it was cold, miserable, windy. It was a tough day to be out there.
Meanwhile, investigators examined a list of local sex offenders. One name stood out.
Alfonso Rodriguez had been sent to prison 23 years earlier on rape and attempted rape charges. When he was released, he was classified as a level 3 sex offender. Level 3 sex offenders are those who are most likely to reoffend.
Officers questioned Rodriguez, then got a warrant to search his car.
They went through it. They found some blood. They found a knife. The blood turned out to be the same type of Drew Shadeen's.
On December 1st, 2003, Alfonso Rodriguez Jr. was arrested and charged with kidnapping Drew Shadeen. Rodriguez pled not guilty. The story attracted media from around the country as the search for Drew continued through the harsh winter.
I met Drew Shadeen's mother coming out of the command post. Something just compelled me to just walk up to her and put my arm around her, and I just said, "Mom," I said, I just want to promise you one thing. We'll never quit. We're going to keep on till we find her.
On April 17th, Deputy Dick Rue brought an end to the agonizing mystery.
I was walking up toward that little east ditch, and I spotted something that was black. I went down to take a closer look, and it turned out that the black spot, about the size of a hubcap perhaps, it was her coat. And she was under it. She was lying there in the ditch.
We got a call to come back to the command center, and that's when we ultimately knew that Drew had been found that day.
What's interesting about this case is because he took her across state lines, federal laws applied due to the interstate nature.
As a result, the case was transferred to federal court.
The hardest part of the story is that Alfonso Rodriguez Jr. served his sentence for his crime. He served 23 years. He was released because that's the way our system works. And it only took him 6 months before he destroyed an entire community.
In 2007, Alfonso Rodriguez Jr. was found guilty of the kidnap, rape, and murder of Drew Shadeen. He was sentenced to death by lethal injection. Linda Walker lobbied for a national sex offender registry. The law was signed by President George W. Bush in July 2006.
You never want to have anybody forget her. Not maybe necessarily the way she was taken, but the life that she led and how much more she had out there to give.
When we return, a gruesome story of sex in the city.
This case, I believe, absolutely was premeditated. And he was overwhelmed with the fact that he had to support 2 children.